And that idea of inspiring giving is really at the heart of Michael Staenberg's approach to giving. This renovation got started, it might have been 6 days into my service when you sat in my office, told me Rome wasn't built in a day, and said something about the need for updating or something like that. But a few years later, I got the call that he said he and Carol and the foundation wanted to make an investment, and he expressed his desire to have his name here to inspire others. But what was most important was the second call that I got to say, Andrew, my name's not going to go on that building. And I apologize if this was supposed to be confidential. It's not anymore, because it speaks to the man's character, his humility, and his willingness to let his giving inspire others. Michael has the vision, the expertise, and the energy to have driven not only this renovation, but so much in our community, and his giving never stops. When you go in and you see the artistry on the walls, that too is the last piece that he has given to this building. Michael speaks of the importance of people, programs, and places because he gets the importance of facilities. Michael Staenberg, along with Carol and the foundation, thank you, and let me introduce you now. Will you welcome Michael Staenberg?
Andrew, thank you for those kind words. There's more art coming. We're not out of art yet. For those of you that know me, I have opinions, and those that really know me, I say things that sometimes I probably shouldn't say. But if you'll indulge me for a few minutes tonight, I want to share with one of my strongly held opinions in less than 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. In less than 5 minutes. So here are my 5 minutes worth. A few minutes with Mike, if you will let me speak. I grew up in Omaha and turned to the JCC when my dad unexpectedly passed away when I was a teenager. I turned to the Omaha J for escape, for support, and for friendship. And I got all those things from friends and staff who were very positively affected my life as a teenager. In fact, I have many friends in Omaha still. There's an artist I like named Boris Bailey. Boris and I have been friends for over 20 years. Boris builds large and small sculptures with repurposed signs, old street signs and other types of signs. Last month, a very large piece of his artwork was hung on the outside of the Federation in Omaha. It's on the campus similar to this campus. The Omaha J sits adjacent to the Federation, just like the St. Louis J sits next to this Federation. They're sister organizations. I feel very fond of both organizations and are major supporters of both the Federation in Omaha and here. So I was delighted to bring this piece of art to Omaha to make a statement. Boris and I talked about what to name this piece of art. We called it Converging Ripples. I've spoken to Boris about this at length before it was put up, and we spent hours discussing what it should mean. It's a piece of art with a message, an important message that I think all Jewish institutions throughout the United States, and especially here, should take to heart. When a large stone is tossed into the middle of a still pond, it sends out a single, round wave that moves effortlessly in every direction. The wave will bounce off the edges of the pond and will quickly lose its initial energy, and it will return the pond to still and calmness. This is a model that many Jewish institutions around the country have adopted for growth and development. Wait for the big thing to drop in the water, ride the energy from that wave as long as you can, and then wait for the next big thing. Or wait for one large bequest or donor, ride that financial wave as long as you can, and wait for the next large bequest or donation. But I believe, as I started this conversation with you tonight, this is flawed and dangerous. I believe that instead of depending on large stones to create a single wave every so often, we need hundreds and smaller and even tiny stones being constantly thrown into the pond, constantly creating ripples, creating energy, creating turbulence. We need converging ripples going to and coming from every direction, and that are active all the time. We need the pond never to be still or calm. And that energy, the ripple effect, has to come from every and each one of us today, and every member of our community, even from our kids. My dad made me and all my siblings give a penny to tzedakah before we went to the synagogue, as far as I can remember. I remember every cause in Omaha I supported with that penny, that nickel, that dime, that quarter. I still feel connected to those causes when I was a young child. It didn't matter that we had only a penny, a nickel, a dime. We were never going to wait for that large stone to be thrown in the pond and to be dropped by someone else. It was our obligation. Those pennies, the nickels, the dimes, the quarters that my dad demanded from me when I was just a child changed me forever, and that's who I am today. The converging ripples created by the support tossed in every pond person in our community not only drives the institutions we support, they assure our individual connections with those institutions. To people who don't contribute, the Federation is an organization out there doing great things. There's a lot of organizations out there doing great things. But to those of us who do contribute, the Federation is us. It's me and you and all of us pooling our hard-earned money to do good things and good deeds. Every kid that plays at the JCC should be doing their part and donating a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter. Every parent should be telling their kids how they support the J, the Federation, and other Jewish organizations here in St. Louis. We should be instilling in our kids that the sense of our community isn't someone else's responsibility. It's my responsibility, it's your responsibility, it's each of our responsibilities. And everything good that happens here depends on every one of us sitting here tonight in our community tossing those pebbles into the pond. I think the Millstone campus as a pond. I think of it here as a pond tonight. Conceived by I.E. Millstone, who knew putting the Federation building, the JCC, the Covenant Place, the Mikveh, the Jewish Light, the Jewish Family Services, the Center for Jewish Learning, the Brodsky Library, the Holocaust Museum, and other Jewish institutions would create synergy, energy, and pride. That would keep things stirred up in this little pond. But why IE put this Center of Jewish Culture, Education, and Activities and Charity for us, it's our responsibilities to keep this pond going and to creating pebbles to keep going in this pond. So with the few minutes I've had here tonight, I want to encourage all of you to toss those pebbles and create those converging ripples in the pond that IE left us, and to make sure this pond will never be still. And more importantly, I want you to encourage and tell your kids how your family is making the waves and ripples, and how ripples matter. Even a little pisher can throw a stone and make a wave. Someday, God willing, maybe that little pisher will be able to cast in one of those giant stones, but we need to set the example now. As Graham Nash said, teach your children well. And I believe the ripple effect is more than a metaphor. I believe that when we take responsibility and add our personal support to causes, institutions that make our community better, we create a very personal, lifelong bond with those institutions. Bonds that make these institutions stronger and more likely to endure for generations. Don't get me wrong. We love those big stones. We want everybody to keep giving us those big stones. But without those big stones being tossed in our pond by generous people like I.E., Tom Green, the Millstone family, the Coppola family, the Wool family, the Siteman family, the Fox family, the Kransberg family, the Gershman family, the Zorinsky family, the May family, and of course our very own Gloria, and many other generous individuals and families, we would not be here today. My dad taught me that even small gifts matter. I.E. and Tom were both like fathers and mentors to me, and showed me and all of us how people who have been blessed with success must return those blessings daily. But we can't and must not rely on large stones. We must make sure the pond is never still. I'm repeating, the pond can never be still. And to keep the musical metaphor going, I urge you to have and make sure your children have what Neil Young said, searching for a heart of gold, the door of door. Thank you.